Welcome to a new Mad Musings. I'm going to do something different this time by finally addressing Savage World. I won't lie, this was hard to write because making a video about a generic system takes time and effort. The same reason I've yet to do GURPS either is that I will be talking about mechanics for a good chunk of this video. How do you describe a generic system? It's got dozens of settings that adjust the rules just for that world. Every review of a generic system will always break down to a discussion of the rules, which can get pretty dry. I'm Mr. Welch, and I hope your favorite flavor is vanilla. Let me start with a generic system isn't necessarily boring or bland, but it is a general setting when it comes to rules. It will have very little setting-specific mechanics because it's not designed that way. You can have a lot of fun with the system, but the rules tend to be less focused than a game developed around a setting from the ground up. Some people like that, while others prefer games with a custom-designed rule set. It's just a matter of personal taste. It's easy to play a generic system, but it's hard to review one simply because of the volume. Savage World has over 50 different settings. GURPS has at least twice that. So focusing on the math stuff before randomly picking a world to talk about that was more than likely given to me to review, but I just couldn't review that setting because I needed to talk about the mechanics first. After all, that's how this channel works. Savage Worlds was created in 2003 by Shane Lacey Hensley as Pinnacle's primary new game line. I held a grudge against this game for the longest because they ported my beloved Deadlands over to Savage Worlds after they ended the Civil War. I preferred the more dedicated system Deadlands had, even though those mechanics were deeply flawed. Also didn't care for the game that became obsessed with the card-related books at the end to the detriment of the other parts of the game world. But I think I've gotten over that bias. Savage Worlds uses an exploding die target number system, with the unusual step of having different dice available. The better you are at a stat, the higher the die you roll. This is similar to the Deadlands system, but there are some significant changes. First, they cut the number of stats in half from 10 to 5. That wasn't a bad thing. The dice also represent the stat. There's no number attached like in Deadlands, which got confusing. You don't have 4d8 strength, you have d8 strength. Another change for the better. The game uses point buy for character generation rather than Deadlands card spread. Forgive me if I reference Deadlands a lot to compare Savage Worlds. It was derived from that system, and it was the one I learned Savage Worlds on. All of your stats start at d4, and you get 5 points to raise the die types to a max of d12. Then pick 12 skills, and skills begin at the associated stats die type. And there you go. You have some derived stats to figure out, and you can take edges and flaws for bonuses or extra points. These are where much of the customization in the various game settings appear. The game does play fast and loose with combat. It's more of the heroic pulp style than the crunchy GURPS. It still uses the deck of cards to determine initiative, though you aren't rolling to see how many cards you get. It's one card per turn unless you have a particular ability according to the game world. It encourages heroic attacks, out-of-the-box thinking, and combat ranging all over the map. The rules are in-depth and give players a lot more options than just swinging a sword or shooting a gun. The reason why Savage World is being cut short on talking about the settings is because of the massive number of them. Just off the top of my head, there are setting books in Savage Worlds for Abyssal, Aether Drift, Age of Pulp, New York, All for One, Regime Diabolique, Attack of the Giant Monsters, Bechamel, Battlelords of the 23rd Century, Big Apple Sewer Samurai, Blood Shadows, Burning Seas of Hell, Clock and Dagger, Crown and Dragon, Crystal Heart, Dark States, Dawn of the Daikaiju, Dead End, Deadlands Lost Colony, Deadlands The Weird West, Devil's Run, Dinosaurs Protocol, Doomsday Scenario, Dreams of Typhon, Eberron, El Cerebro del Leviathan, Friends of Wildstone Town, Four Horsemen, Gods and Masters, Golden Glory, Seven Deadly Dungeons, Guardians of Umbra, Heroes of Terra, Hive Runners, Holler and Appalachian Apocalypse, Hope and Glory, Immortal, Gates of Pyre, Interface 3.0, Judgment Day, Junk World, Kethos, Legend of Ghost Mountain, Legion of Liberty, Monster Hunter Club, Monster Hunter International, Mythic, New Bristol, Polaris, Pony Finder, The Savage Age, Portico Salvaje, Primeval Thule, Pathfinder, Pinebox Middle School, Ravenloft Rips, Robotech, Sagas and Six Guns, Savage Ghost Ops, The Book of Neurotic Fantasy, Savage No Happy Ending, Savage Tokatsu, Secret Agents of Cross, Secret Files of Section D, Sharp Knives and Dark Souls, Soul, Spirit of 1786, Sprawl Runner, Stingers and Spores, Street Wolves, SWAT, Spells, Weapons and Tactics, Task Force Raven, Techno Tales of Mythics, Tesla Rangers, Titan Effects, The After, City of the Steam Sun, Drowned War, Dragon of Trackoff, The Godfather, The Lost City of Asla, The Remote is Screaming, Toy Troopers, Tuxedos and Trenchcoats, Tyrannodor, Unga Zunga, Vermilion, Void Runners, Wise Guys, Xeno Archaeologos, Salvejos, Art of War, Beast and Barbarians, Codex Infernus, Deadlands Dark Ages, Deadlands Hell on Earth, Deadlands War, Flash, Gordon, Guilds of Shadows, Ravaged Earth, Shantar, The Widening Gyre, Savage Thunderscope, 50 Fathoms, Octoon Cthulhu, Agents of Oblivion, Amethyst Untamed, Apocalypse Prevention Inc., Battle for Oz, Bedlam City, Blackwood, Buccaneer, Through Hell and High Water, Gnomish Polka Holocaust, Kaladin's Fall, Children of the Apocalypse, Citizens Divided, Clockwork Dreams, Darwin's World, Dogs of Hades, Drakenheim, Dungeons Land, Earth Dawn, East Texas University, Go Fighting Ravens, Evernight, Extreme Earth, Feylands, Fey Nightmares, Fear Agent, Fort Griffin, Freedom Squad, Frozen Griffins, Knights and Nymphomaniacs, Gaslit Victorian Fantasy, Gather All, Hellfrost, Hellfrost, Lands of Fire, Harold, Lovecraft and Tesla, Iron Dynasty, Kaiser's Gate, Land of Sono, Lankmar, Lowlife, Mars, Mercenary Breed, Mutant Chronicles, Mythos, Necessary Evil, Nemesis with a Z, Nova Praxis, Olympus Inc., Pantheon, Peacekeepers, Pirates of the Spanish Main, Dawn Not Story Hour, Powder Mage, Psynaut, Realms of Cthulhu, Revolution, Rippers Resurrected, Runepunk, Savage of the Goblin Horde, Saints and Sinners, Savage Iron Kingdom, Savage World of the Burning Sky, Seven Worlds, Slipstream, Solomon Kane, Space 1889, Sticks and Stones, Suzerain, The Day After Ragnarok, The Goon, The Last Parsec, The Sixth Gun, Tropicana, Twinsanal, Ultima Forsen, Untamed Empires, Virulent, Weird Wars 1, Weird Wars 2, Weird Wars Rome, Weird Wars Tour of Darkness, Suzerain Wilderlands, Winter Eternal, Wonderland No More, World of the Dead, and Ancient Worlds. And now in Welch. On second thought, the sun will go dark before I finish that list. That was a quick rundown in no particular order of just the ones I could remember. If you know of any that I forgot, just let me know. So, picking one at random, let me check my stack of Savage World books, and there's only one option, so there's only one choice. Surviving Skunk City for the Super Dead setting book by Super Dead Games, who donated this book for this review. John Wolahan did the writing, Sean Bova did the drawing, and it's a superheroic zombie apocalypse where players are similar in power to Batman, Spider-Man, or Wolverine, meaning the party is going to be a bunch of overpowered creators' bats. In defense of Batman or Spider-Man, however, I would let them watch my daughter. Plus, it's not Spider-Man's fault modern writers can't do a young married couple. Or that one writer wanted to shove his pet into Peter's life because she was so much cooler than MJ in every single way, so let's sell his marriage to the devil to save an octogenarian's life. Or how about baiting us by promising us the wedding of Bruce and Selena, then dropping the entire storyline on the wedding issue because, what, writing about married superheroes is difficult? Reed Richards begs to differ. Then again, I've seen the Fantastic Four sales, and maybe the current batch just isn't up to the task. Fortunately, Surviving Skunk City has better writers, though none of the characters are required to have a spouse, but if they did, I'm sure Mr. Wolahan wouldn't have a problem incorporating this into his setting book. But I'm not bitter. The setting is not a clone of Marvel's Zombies, but one where superheroes in the form of mutants existed, and in the efforts to exterminate them by the military, that led to the zombies. Now, in a strange twist of fate, the mutants have to save the people that tried to kill them. It's an interesting take and gives the players a moral dilemma about helping those who wish them harm. You can still have the guy whose main power is more money than everybody else, and a desire to beat up on people poorer than him, but check that with the DM first. You will need a copy of Super Dead, but like any generic system, any additional books that the GM allows slots in with little effort. Well, in theory. I'm not spoiling the adventure, but it's a standard zombie story where you have to confront the big bad warlord at the end of a lot of zombies between you and the main boss in the meantime. Zombies in this world are infectious, so don't get bit. There are rules for running away, and these are slow Romero zombies, not the track stars from 28 Days Later or the later Romero remakes. Since the players are superheroes, they shouldn't have much problem dealing with individual zombies, but large hordes give them pause. The game gives a list of pre-made characters which aren't so powerful that the adventure will be a cakewalk. Zombies are a threat to low-powered heroes, but they aren't even cannon fodder against god-tiered supers like Superman, Lobo, or Mathematic. Even the billionaire genius types can buy new suits that the zombies can't bite through. The answer is obviously superpowered zombies, but those are out of the scope of this game. When you're building your Super Dead, the challenge rating of the zombies compared to the character's powers will make or break it. No threat, no thrill, and all that. That's a significant problem with superhero games, and this one is no different. Please don't flood the world with super zombies. That's how you get the boring Marvel zombies where you don't even get the illusion of hope and everybody is dead as soon as you meet them. You have to give your characters at least the chance to survive, or else you might as well be playing Final Destination, the role-playing game. And have your characters hand over their character sheets at set times because they have no agency, and you're just reading a novel where they die at the end. I love good horror. Final Destination is not good horror. It's borderline torture porn. Savage World's strength is also its weakness, and it's the same problem with all generic systems. If you want to build a specific world, you need specific books. The more you add, the better your particular world will get, but the larger the stack of game books will grow. Many of the setting books are bare bones, and others have more comprehensive books that offer better rules. If you want to play Shadowrun in Savage Worlds, you're going to need the books on cyberware and magic. A 4-color comic book setting will have superpowers, psychics, magics, aliens, martial arts, future tech, and guns. There are books that specialize in all of those far more than a single book on 4-color comics would. It's a balancing act. Don't use enough books, and the campaign will be rules light, and the players might want more. Use too many, and you risk the structural integrity of your bookcase. Now, many of the books I just listed exist only in PDF form or in my head, and that's a lot of clicking different links to see if the book even exists. That's it for Savage Worlds. I didn't go into a lot of the individual books because, well, you heard the list, and I have DSL. If I went into all of them, it would be faster to drive to your house and read this file than try to upload it to the internet. Generic systems have their strengths and their flaws. These are inherent. You're not going to make a generic system with setting specific rules in the main book. They're meant to be modular. And if that's what you're looking for, have fun. Next up is a rarity, as I get to review a book that hasn't come out yet, at least in physical form. I've been sent a copy of Broken Tales for review by the World Anvil, a twisted world where fairy tales have escaped and turned evil. But until then, God, I miss the Chris Claremont X-Men.